everyone, I'm Jessicat, and today I want to talk about the most cowardly creature in Minecraft. That was loud. So, yes, the villager, in my opinion, is the most cowardly creature in Minecraft, and let me explain. The villager is cowardly because it will run from everything. I mean, it will run from so many creatures in the game, many more than I think any other mob. If you have an example of a mob that runs away more than the villager, let me know, but I'm pretty sure the villager is it. The villager will run from all of the mobs that I'm about to spawn here, and it should, because these mobs that I'm about to spawn will attack it. But let me show you. First of all, of course, we have the zombie villager, and you can see that that villager is not happy at all. If I place them right next to the zombie villagers, you'll see that they will indeed run away. Next up, I'm going to show you zombies, which, of course, the villagers will also run from, understandably so. Next, I'll show you the Vindicator, which Vindicators will also attack villagers, even when they're not name-tagged Johnny, as you can see. So, of course, villagers will run from those. They'll also run from husks, as you can see. And finally, they will also run from evokers. And I also want to point out something extra. They also run from Vexes, as you can see, because the Vexes summoned by evokers will attack villagers, as you just saw there. Vexes summoned by evokers do attack villagers, and the evokers themselves also attack the villagers. So, villagers will run, and rightly so, from all of those mobs, but here's something strange I want to point out. When I spawn a Vex myself, the villagers will run from it, but the Vexes don't do any harm whatsoever to the villagers. They're not aggressive toward the villagers. It's only when they're summoned by an evoker that they will attack. I've done this over and over, and I cannot see any sign of them attacking a villager. They just don't care, which is wild to me. It's crazy. And I'm going to summon a bunch of Vexes here just to prove my point, but I don't think we're going to see any of them attack any villagers. They're just not going to. So I have now summoned a ridiculous number of Vexes and villagers, and as you can see, they are coexisting peacefully. I mean, the villagers are running like crazy, but they don't get attacked no matter what they do. So the villagers are just running away because they don't know any better. They think the Vexes are going to attack them. You can't blame them for that. But I still think this makes them cowards, because the Vexes aren't attacking, and yet they're still running. But if you don't believe me, take a look at this next mob, the Zombie Pigmen. Villagers will run from Zombie Pigmen, even though, as far as I know, there isn't really a way to make Zombie Pigmen angry at villagers, even if you wanted to. They just run away. As you can see, whenever I place a Zombie Pigmen next to the villagers, they run away. They don't like these guys at all, and it's hilarious in my opinion. You could even use Zombie Pigmen to manipulate villagers if you wanted to, but you didn't want them to come to any harm, instead of using zombies, which could of course just kill the villagers. These guys, strategically placed, can be just as effective. So yeah, I mean, they will run from Zombie Pigmen, even though the Zombie Pigmen, as far as I know, have never done anything to them, which is wild. Really wacky. I mean, look at them. They're walking towards this guy, and then as soon as they get too close, they walk away. And finally, let me show you a mob with similar properties, if not identical properties. The Drowned. Believe it or not, Drowns will not usually attack villagers, but they definitely do scare them away. And the one exception to Drowns attacking villagers is if the Drowned spawns with a trident. Gonna try to get a trident drowned here. There we go, I got a drowned with a trident, and right away you can see, well, he's shooting another drowned, but I promise he's actually trying to shoot the villagers. Yeah, there you go, see, he's targeting that farmer, and you just killed it. And we have a zombie villager in there now. Yeah, so as you can see, they're all just killing each other now. And drowns do indeed attack villagers if they spawn with a trident, but what I think is weird is that villagers will run away from the drowns even if they don't have tridents. I mean, look at them, bunch of scaredy cats. So those are the mobs that villagers run from, but shouldn't because they won't harm them in any way. Now here are a couple of mobs that villagers don't run from, but possibly should. Look at this, the pufferfish. It seems so harmless, right? And they don't run away from it. But it will indeed poison them, and if I put enough down here, they will kill them. There you go. Look, that one's running straight towards them. They are not scared of pufferfish for some odd reason, and yet they can be killed by them. So that's a bit of a strange one if you ask me. And I'm not going to show you this one, but the wither will also attack villagers, and they don't run away from the wither either. Here's another odd one that they don't run away from, but they should. The Illusioner. This one doesn't matter so much because it's not really officially in the game, of course, but the Illusioner does attack villagers, and they don't run away from it. They're moving around, but I'm pretty sure that's just due to the random movement of villagers and not any sort of fear on their part. I genuinely do think that the Illusioner, although it does attack them, doesn't scare them, and that's kind of wacky to me. So that is an exception to the rule of villagers running from illager-type mobs. I thought that was interesting. And finally, here are a couple of observations I would like to make. Take a look at this. This guy, right? Yeah, they're fine with him. They're fine with the giant zombie. They don't mind him at all. They can just, like, sit around peacefully, and that's probably because the giant doesn't really have any AI. He doesn't really care, but I still find it interesting that they were never coated with any fear of the giant. Here's another zombie variant that the villagers won't run away from, the zombie horse. The zombie horse won't attack villagers, which I think is a little strange personally, because shouldn't it serve the zombies and, by extension, try to harm the villagers? But what do I know, right? Minecraft lore is weird. So, yeah, zombie horses and villagers will exist peacefully together. And finally, the witch. The witch is one I find fascinating because if I spawn one in, take a look, she kind of looks like an illager. I mean, she has that same kind of grayish shade of skin, and she's got the big nose. She looks like a villager, but I think the reason that witches and villagers coexist peacefully is because witches, if you think about it, were once villagers. I mean, if I summon a lightning bolt, you all know what's going to happen, right? That'll turn villagers into witches. So, as you can see, villagers and witches are really pretty much the same mob, which is, I believe, why they coexist peacefully. But maybe villagers should run from witches, and maybe witches should attack them. Maybe they've been corrupted by the lightning. I don't know. That's probably not for me to decide, but I think it'd be interesting if that happened. But yeah, this is, in my opinion, the most cowardly mob in Minecraft, seeing as it runs from 3 mobs it doesn't have to run from: the drowned, the Vex, and the Zombie Pigmen. And it also runs from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mobs it should run from. And I don't think there's any other mob that does that. I don't think there's any other mob that just runs away from things it should or should not be scared of. So, yeah, these guys are weird, and they're scaredy cats. They just nodded. They just nodded in agreement. They agree with me. Yep. Yes, you are scaredy cats. So yeah, I just wanted to point out a few observations about the villager and what it does and doesn't run away from. Hopefully you found this interesting. It's probably never going to be particularly useful unless you want to use Zombie Pigmen in some way to manipulate villagers, which I think could be an interesting game to play. But anyway, that's where I'm going to end the video. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week. Bye!